Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon for character sheets and like and subscribe for 9 lives next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Selina Kyle, also known as Catwoman, a perfect foil for Batman. Besides having a different preferred pronoun, Selina grew up as an orphan, but was poor. She has a totemic attunement with an animal, but rather than a symbol of fear, hers is a symbol of rebirth. And instead of beating up poor criminals who rob banks, she steals from the rich and punishes domestic abusers. So you know, she's the villain. Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need to be as quick as a cat, or at least a cat cosplayer. Even though cats shouldn't have dairy, they love it, so we'll get Cool Whip. Don't treat that pun as a reason to give your cats dairy. Finally, we need to straight up embarrass the people we're fighting with cool tricks to make an admittedly low damage weapon worth using. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just make sure that you're bendy. Dexterity will be number 1, you use whips, leather, and scratches. I'm not going to shame you for that, whatever makes you happy. Charisma next, you've gotten away a few times by just asking not to be arrested. Follow that up with Constitution. Your origin story has changed a lot, but it generally starts with you passing death saving throws. Selina Kyle? More like Selena Kenny. Wisdom after that, your senses are fairly sharp. Intelligence is lower than I'd like, you're really smart, but didn't get a formal education, so we'll dump strength because we can fix it up later even if you're very good at climbing. Falcon isn't a bird, Spider-Man isn't a spider, and Catwoman isn't a cat. Instead, she's a variant human, letting us grab a feat. The lucky feat gives you 3 luck die to roll for an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, or to give someone disadvantage on an attack against you. This applies to death saving throws, so we'll have 4 lives at this point. Bump your dexterity and constitution with your 2 free points, take investigation for your skill of choice, and the urchin background for sleight of hand and stealth. Urchin is virtually the opposite of noble, so you can take 2 steps forward, Batman takes 1 step back. You'll come together because opposites make for an exciting couple of dates, but honestly something long term you're going to want someone with a common set of values and hobbies. We'll kick things off as a rogue, surprising nobody, I hope, letting you pick 4 skills from the rogue list like acrobatics, athletics, persuasion, and deception. You need to get around, not get caught, but be able to play it off if you do get caught. This gets even better with expertise, letting you double your proficiency bonus with certain skills like stealth and acrobatics to creep through the tiniest crack or walk on the narrowest rail. If you want to take advantage of your sneakiness, sneak attack lets you add a d6 to the damage of an attack when you have advantage on it, or if you have an ally within 5 feet of them. You need to use finesse or ranged weapons for this, whips, knives, and guns, or all those things, which are all things you like, isn't that nice? Also, we're not technically getting claws, just use a dagger. She doesn't have literal knife hands, they're just sharp, tiny things she puts on her fingers. Mechanically, it would be no different. Second level rogues get cunning action, letting you dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action for stellar getaway options, unless you're fighting a bunch of other rogues, then it might be tricky. Third level rogues can choose a roguish archetype, and with that high charisma, people are going to ask for swashbuckler. But thieves can also have high charisma, and it's much more accurate to Selina. It's not as strong as swashbuckler, but this isn't called power building character, is it? Is it? Let me check. It's not. Thieves get second story work, giving you a climbing speed equal to your regular speed, and letting you add your dexterity modifier to the distance of running long jumps. Given the choice between rooftops and sidewalks, I'd go rooftops every time. You also get fast hands, letting you make a sleight of hand check or use an object as a bonus action to pick locks extra fast. Sneak attack also bumps up to 2d6. Fourth level rogues get an ability score improvement. Let's get dexterity up as quickly as possible. You're nimble enough to fight superhumans and gods when you're just a woman who fell out a window once. It's not even a superpower, that's just sad. Fifth level rogues get uncanny dodge, letting you cut damage in half as a reaction, so it's not really a dodge, more like a near miss. I'm counting it as another life, and there's no limit to using it, so actually it will round us up to 9 when we need it later. Unlike Blake Belladonna, Catwoman can't make clones of herself. Your sneak attack damage bumps up to 3d6 though. Blake doesn't have that. 6th level rogues get another set of expertise skills. Persuasion and sleight of hand would be my picks for picking locks, or for just very nicely asking for the key. Just remember when you're role-playing, flirting with an NPC means you've kind of got to be comfortable flirting with the DM. Also remember that passing a persuasion check is an automatic seduction. If someone does a good job of convincing you to cut your arm off, you're still not going to do it. 7th level rogues get evasion, meaning you take no damage from successful dex saves and half damage from failed ones. My money is on you passing the dex saves because you've got such a high modifier and the lucky feat, but hey, what if you did a bunch of flips and just said meow when the building blew up? That'd be pretty cool. Your sneak attack damage also bumps up to 4d6. 8th level rogues get an ability score improvement. Capping off your dexterity modifier is the last thing we need before we start multiclassing. And we won't be multiclassing into monk for a couple of reasons. First, leather is a pretty major part of your character and monks can't wear it. Well, they can, it's just bad because then you can't use martial arts. Also, your wisdom isn't bad, but using the point array, it's not going to be good enough for multiclassing. Even if it was 13, a +1 wisdom modifier would mean stunning strike still doesn't actually work all that often, which is the real benefit of monk rogue multiclassing. Finally, people just get mad at me for making too many monks. So stop doing that and I'll make more monks. That's why we're going to make a fighter instead, because I definitely don't get complaints about making fighters. You get to pick a fighting style. Dueling lets you add 2 to the damage of a weapon attack when you're wielding it one-handed, like your whip. You also get Second Wind, letting you heal 1d10 plus your fighter level as a bonus action once per short rest for another extra little cat life. Second level fighters get Action Surge, letting you make 2 actions in 1 turn once per short rest. Fighter stuff generally recovers on short rests. Don't be afraid to take a Warlock nap. Third level fighters can choose a martial archetype, and Battle Masters get 4 d8s they can use for maneuvers every short rest. You learn 3 maneuvers like tripping attack, forcing a strength saving throw of 8 plus your proficiency bonus and dexterity modifier, knocking a large or smaller enemy prone if they fail. Melee attacks have advantage on prone targets, so that means you can pop your sneak attack for free. Feinting attack lets you give yourself advantage as a bonus action, which also helps you pop your sneak attack for free with no chance for them to resist, but you won't be able to make a getaway with your cunning action. Disarming attack forces a strength saving throw on a creature, forcing them to drop something they're holding if they fail. Whips are really good for all of this stuff, letting you do it from 10 feet away, and you can add your superiority die to the damage of all of them, making the d4 of the whip a little more bearable, especially considering some of them also let you add 4d6 sneak attack. You're also a student of war, giving you proficiency with a set of artisan's tools. The most seductive and finessed option is calligraphy. Some say that the path to a lover's heart is through their stomach. They lied, it's penmanship. 4th level fighters get an ability score improvement or a feat. The mobile feat adds 10 to your movement speed, and you can ignore difficult terrain and creatures you're attempting to hit with a melee attack. Can't take opportunity attacks against you for the rest of the turn. So you wouldn't have to disengage, meaning that you could dash with your bonus action instead, and since the speed boost applies to the dash as well, you can get 80 feet away. And because of second story work, those can be vertical feet. Catching cats is hard. 5th level fighters get an extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks instead of 1 with your action, or 4 attacks with an action surge. You can only sneak attack once per round, but you can wait and see if you crit, since that'll double the sneak attack die too. Get your trip on and then go nuts fishing for crits. Cats also like to fish. 6th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Let's get that charisma up. As nice as it is murdering and stealing things, sometimes you just want to talk. 7th level battle masters can know their enemy, letting you figure out the strength, dexterity, constitution, HP, AC, fighter level, or total level of a creature you've studied for a minute. For every minute you've stalked them, you can learn if you're better, worse, or equal to them in these regards. My cat has never caught a mouse. We've had several mice since getting her. Obviously, she is just studying them. You also get 2 more maneuvers. Riposte lets you attack a creature with a reaction that misses you with an attack, adding the superiority die to the damage. Catwoman has a parry in Injustice, but parry in D&D reduces damage by an amount equal to your superiority die plus your dexterity modifier, which I'm not grabbing because you already have uncanny dodge. Instead, grab lunging attack, adding 5 feet to the range of your attack for a 15-foot whip. Superiority die added to the damage. You should get that by now. Oh, you also get another superiority die too. That's great. 8th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Charisma isn't capped yet, so keep investing in it until it is. Now we reach an impasse. Do we make you more of a rogue or more of a fighter? You could get more sneak attack damage from rogue and actually get more ability score improvements, but the 9th level thief ability isn't great, and another extra attack would be great, but what I really want is the 9th level fighter ability. 9th level fighters get Indomitable, of course, letting you reroll a failed saving throw once per short rest, including death saving throws. So with this and your luck die, you could basically get advantage on 4 death saves per day. Honestly, probably better to just not hit 0 HP in the first place and use these to prevent that, but hey, it's allowed. 10th level fighters get improved combat superiority, making your superiority die d10s instead of d8s, and you can spend them on 2 more maneuvers. I'd say at this point you're probably working with the Bat family more than you're fighting them, so let's get some teamwork. Goading attack forces a wisdom saving throw on a creature you hit. Failing that, they'll have disadvantage on attacks against creatures that aren't you until the end of your next turn. Remember how good you are at running? Just whip, run, and then watch them bumble around and get beaten by bats. Distracting Strike gives the next person to attack the target advantage on their roll. Your boyfriend, mostly a rogue. Oh, boyfriend seems too heavy. Fellow leather enthusiast. 11th level fighters get another extra attack, letting you attack 3 times with an action or 6 times with an action surge, and thanks to your +7 damage modifier, that means you're going to be pumping out some serious ouchies. Our capstone is the 12th level of fighter, giving us one last ability score improvement, letting us cap off our charisma. Whether you want to team up with the Bat Family, the Sirens, or the Rogues, you need to charm your way in, probably because you keep working with the other groups and against all of them. It's almost like your personality is based on one of the most finicky animals in existence. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you're incredibly mobile with extra speed for fantastic getaways. You're also dealing some consistent damage with +7 as your modifier, 3 attacks per round, and extra damage when you can get your sneak attack on. Finally, you're lucky, with lucky and indomitable being an extra lucky, and uncanny dodge, evasion. There's just so many ways you have to avoid taking damage. For weaknesses, you don't have magical damage, which could be a real pain when Kryptonians exist and need to be hit. You're also using a limited amount of superiority die. You could actually spend them all in one round and be left with no more maneuvers to enjoy. Finally, your athletics checks might be decent, but your strength saves are pretty low, also an issue in a world full of Kryptonians. But hey, isn't that just the issue with a shared superhero universe in general? You're a street level hero fixing street level crimes like misogyny and economic inequality. Actually, maybe we should call Supergirl. Those might be a little too intense for a cat to deal with. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon for character sheets and subscribe to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.